Good morning, and thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Butts-Chester. You know what I like to do on my show. I want to enlighten, inspire, and empower you to become your best self. Now, Scripture reminds us that the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire. And today, my guest is Terrie Sizemore, and I'm really excited to talk to her because not only is she an author, but she also has a publishing company. So we're going to be able to talk about both ends of, or both sides of the coin. Now, you know what I'm going to tell you. Go on, get your coffee, get your tea, get comfy, get cozy, because we are about to get started. Good morning, Terrie. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Hi, it's nice to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Yes. Now, I usually read a person's bio, but so many times, it can be boring to some folks, and I'd love to be able to ask the author to tell me in their own words, who are you? What makes you you? What has contributed to you being in this moment of now?
Well, I guess it started a long time ago, and I graduated from high school when I was 16 years old. I was raised in the Cleveland, Ohio area. I started college as a biological major and pre-med, and I met an ambulance driver and decided that I wanted to drive an ambulance for the city of Cleveland. So I did that for 3 years while I put myself through nursing school at Cleveland Metropolitan General Hospital. And then after graduating from nursing school, I decided that I wanted to be a veterinarian. So I took the prerequisites. I applied to Ohio State, and I was accepted. I graduated many years ago, and in the amount of time that I've been a nurse and a veterinarian, I've had tons of experience with animals, people, children, and I was a stepmom for 13 years before my stepdaughter passed away over 12 years ago with cancer. And she and I spent many, many nights reading children's books, and I fell in love. I'd go to the library, and I'd get 35 or 40 books, whatever they let me take out. I'd take them home. And Gina had a reading difficulty, so the divorce happened when she was very young. So she was a little bit behind developmentally. So what I realized was those children's books were so wonderful for her because they were simple, they were cute, they had a little story to tell. And so she fell in love with them. I fell in love with them. I attended a writing school, and I wrote in a basic and advanced course, and I started writing my own children's books. And today you've asked me to talk about Divine Designs. It was my second book that I wrote. I wrote one book called The Magic of Christmas about a young boy named Matthew who no longer believes in Santa, but he has a unique experience with Santa, and he believes again. And then I created Divine Designs, and I was looking for an illustrator. It took me many years to find an illustrator, and I've been a Christian for over 40 years, and so I decided that I love nature. I love animals, obviously, because I'm a veterinarian and I'm in medicine. So I created the little book, Divine Designs.
Sure. Now, when did you decide that you wanted to be a veterinarian? Was there a moment in your childhood, was there a moment in your young adult life when you realized that I absolutely love animals and this is the field of medicine that I want to go in?
Yes, that is a very good question. I was, in my last year in nursing school, I was sitting around my grandfather's home, and I said to myself, I think I'm going to go buy a horse today. And I did. So I went out and bought a horse, and I bought a horse that I could not ride. She was wonderful, but she was a maniac. And so I cried. I just thought, I love this horse, but I struggled through that. And then a few months later, I bought another horse who was best horse God has ever made in the whole world, and he was an off-the-track thoroughbred, and we had a great life together for 16 years. And before, I think it was about 1980, my horse, we were trying to put him in a trailer, and he went up over backwards, and he broke some bones at the base of his neck, and I was frantic. Here was my wonderful, lovey horse that I love more than anything in the world, injured. So I drove him with some friends, actually drove me and him to the Ohio State University Veterinary Hospital. And when I was there, I realized that this was everything to me. Originally, I wanted to be a plastic reconstructive microsurgeon, and I had that in mind as a goal until that horse was injured, and I went to the university. And then I changed paths. And when I applied to veterinary school, I originally wanted to do horses, but I have done companion animals and some small farm animals as well.
Now, at what moment did you decide that you wanted to become an author, that you had a story to tell, and that you thought that you should put it in a published book?
Well, I've always loved to write. I did very well in creative writing in high school, but that wasn't the path I was on because I was pursuing medicine. But I think it was when I was a stepmom, and I saw reading for my stepdaughter. She was it was very difficult for her to read initially. And like I said, we did the picture books, and we did those for a very long time. Then we graduated to the chapter books. And I thought creative writing, it's just a wonderful way. I love Beatrix Potter. I love how they tell stories. They were creative. They were beautiful. The illustrators brought the words to life. I love everything. And that was probably in the year 1995, 1998. So it's been a long time in coming. And I've received a lot of rejection letters, like I know a lot of authors have. Some people have some great ideas out there. It's a very noisy world, and I understand that. And a lot of people just dismissed that I was a small person. So that's when I decided that I wanted to write the veterinary books for owners of animals, because every owner comes in and they love their pet as much as I love mine, and I loved my horses. And so I wanted them to have the knowledge and a base of knowledge to do a great job of owning those pets and caring for those pets and understanding what their particular veterinarian would have. So I couldn't find a publisher, so then I opened a publishing company to publish those particular books, and have added many since then.
Let's pause. So my next question for you, and you kind of hinted at it already, is that you have published some other books. So you've done Divine Design, you've done veterinarian books. Have you done any other types of books?
Yes. I did a small title called There's Always Hope, and it is a fictionalized book about my time with my stepdaughter and what I witnessed her going through personally with the divorce of her parents. It's a sensitive book about that subject. And I also have 3 little devotional books that are monthly devotional, and what they are is a little story or a blog that's faith-based, and then an area where a reader can write their personal takes on that story and how it applies to their life and what they've learned through the small story that I've shared. And I also have a book for budding authors themselves called A Few Short Stories, where they are not faith-based stories, but they're stories about animals or lives or circumstances that I've had, and I want them to inspire a new writer to write their own little story after they read that story. Something in the story I'm hoping just sparks an interest and helps their creative process. I created a little book called The 23rd Psalm because it's my favorite book. It's very simple. It's just the psalm with some pictures accompanying it. I also created a small book called The Little White Kitten and Her Little Red Mittens. And that book is about a little kitten who loves her little red mittens, and then she loses those mittens, and she frantically tries to find them, cannot find them, but she eventually sees them on the paws of another little kitten, and it gives her an idea to share and to give. And so what the little white kitten learns is the value and the joy in sharing and giving in that little book. And those are my titles. I'm aspiring to write anatomy and physiology books for the young interested party, because I think that a basic anatomy and physiology book for health sciences and things like that is very necessary. I was going to partner with a teacher. I have an educator's license as well. For over 10 years, I've been a teacher, and I've taught from kindergarten to 12th grade, and I can teach life sciences long term. So my interest in biology and health sciences also extends to my creating books about the human body, the embryo, the skin, the eye, the heart, the everything. So that's in the works, and that's up and coming pretty soon for me.
So when did you create A to Z Press?
In about 2016.
And what inspired you, other than the writing of your own book? Was there any other inspiration as far as why you felt that you needed to have a publishing company, as opposed to just simply self-publishing under perhaps like your name or as a sole proprietor?
Yes, I wanted to invite other authors that have been rejected by mainstream publishers like Random House. Everyone dreams, every writer dreams of being published by Random House or one of the large publishing companies. And sometimes that's not always possible. Like I said, it's a noisy world. So I have several other authors that I know we'll get to. But I wanted to have a venue for anyone to submit G-rated work to my company. And if it's a creative idea, if it's a nice idea, I'd be happy to work with them and partner with them in getting that published and getting books in their hands and available to the public.
Absolutely. Well, it is just about time for us to go to break, and if you could please, can you remind everyone what is the title of your book, and where can we pick up a copy, and how do we stay in contact with you?
The book title for today is Divine Designs. It's available on Amazon. I also have a website at bestlittleonlinebookstore.com, and I am also accessible at a2zpress.com, and it is the number 2. I'm available there, and my email access is sizemore3630 at aol.com for submissions or questions.
All righty, now you know where you can get a copy of the book. We'll be back right after this.
Discovery. No, just a sec.
What would it look like if we listened more? Could the right voice, the right set of words, bring us all just a little closer? Get us to open up, even push us further? It could, if we took the time to listen. The most inspiring minds, the most compelling stories. Download Audible and listen for a change.
We're home during COVID-19, but we're not alone. New Life Pastoral Counseling can help. For affordable Christian counseling, visit newlifepastoralcounseling.com or call 562-209-2083 today.
Hi everyone, Dr. Angela here. Did you know that Daily Spark is now on Facebook? That's right, you can visit with me at facebook.com/Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I want to know more about what you're thinking. I'd love to know which interview did you find the most entertaining or the most informative. I want to talk to you, and I want you to be able to talk to me. Simply visit facebook.com/Daily Spark with Dr. Angela.
And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Butts-Chester. You know what I want to do? I want to enlighten, inspire, and empower you. I want to get you fired up about what you can do, and my guest today feels the same way. She is Dr. Terrie Sizemore, and she has not only decided to become a veterinarian, but an author, and she has her own publishing company as well. I love a woman on fire with purpose, and I believe that she is just that. Now, Terrie, we were talking before we went to break about your publishing company, A2Z Press. What types of books have you chosen to publish?
They're all G-rated, and they're all different sorts of books. So I have my books, whether they're veterinary books, children's picture books, self-help books, inspirational Christian-based, faith-based books, and I have others that are in the works. And I have had some authors ask me for publishing, and anyone with a G-rated idea is welcome to present an idea. I've had some folks bring me some really lovely ideas, but they end up being something that I can't publish because some of the material is not G-rated.
Mm-hmm. So you will take fiction, nonfiction, romance, comedy, suspense, action, thrillers, biographies, any of those, self-help, any of those genres of books are fine as long as they're G-rated?
Yes.
Gotcha. Now, as far as your ideal author is concerned, are you looking for someone who is a looking to be a first-time published author, or someone who perhaps has been at another publishing house and they may not have been pleased, or they weren't fulfilled with what their expectation was? Are they able to come over and work with you as well?
They sure are. It gets a little sticky if a book has already been assigned an ISBN. There is a way to put that under my publishing company, but most of my authors are first-time authors, or they're authors that would like to bring a new work to my publishing company, so we work together with those particular projects.
Mm-hmm. As far as the age of the author, we now know that there are children that are producing children's books and even some instructional material as well. Does the age of the author matter? Do you have to be 18 in order to work with you, or can you accept some of the younger authors as well?
I would love to have authors of any age, and the children are especially wonderful because they're very creative. Sometimes they even do their own illustrations, which makes it even more charming and darling. And I think that their work is wonderful. I want to help them, encourage them. I'd love to hear from anyone at any age. It doesn't matter if they're 4 years old or they're 80 years old. Anyone is welcome to present an idea. And how long does the process take with you? If someone comes in and they simply send an email to the email address that you mentioned, and they said, hey, I have a book, as far as I'm concerned, this is the whole manuscript, I'm ready to go, I want to be published. From that moment until the book is published, about how long typically does that take? Well, that varies quite a bit. Presently I'm working on a book for a transplant surgeon in Mississippi, and she's presented a title that has 75 stories of black surgeons, female surgeons, and so it's been a wonderful project for us to work on together, and we have worked furiously for months on this project, and hopefully that will be completed by June 1st. Some of the other work has taken anywhere from 1 to 6 months. Some of the children's books, it depends on the artist. Some artists do respond very quickly to me, and they do their drawings very quickly. So that can range anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks as well. Once we get all of the items together, the words cleared out, the edited, the pictures together, putting a book together is very simple and quick after that. So anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks usually.
Now, speaking of illustrations, we know that there are so many apps out there that are able to do the illustrations for books today, and not that we necessarily mean to pull work away from illustrators, but there are some people that are able to not only write the book, but they can also illustrate the book as well. If someone is able to bring you the full work, is that okay, or do they have to use your illustrators?
No, I guess the traditional publishers make you use their illustrators, and I am open to anything. I have wonderful illustrators from all over the world: Italy, the Ukraine, Russia, Brazil, Spain, everywhere. I have found them. They're wonderful, but there are folks that have a vision. The author that I'm working with in South Africa, she's doing her own illustrations, and they are gorgeous. So she has a particular vision for her book, and she's doing a very nice job of creating what she wants it to look like. If I have some creative differences, then I chat with my authors about that, but I do work with them very closely. I make sure they're happy with the work. I offer them different styles of different artists if they are not capable of bringing me their own artwork, and I let them choose, and I work with them very nicely, I think, to help their project be what their vision is for their project.
Now, speaking of style, and I love that you literally listed an international array of illustrators, and with that, people could understand that there are some cultural expressions that may be included in that, and you kind of hinted at it. And the question would be, would they be able to look at the various illustrations? However, the question that I really have is, when you're talking about illustration, does the illustrator that you use have an effect on the story? The Brazilian artist may have a different interpretation as someone from the Ukraine as opposed to someone, let's say, from Egypt, for all of that matter. So does the location of the illustrator actually have an effect on how the illustrations will be seen for the dream that the author is trying to produce?
Yes, and I think that's a really good question. Like I have a veteran, a disabled veteran. He's a quadriplegic, paralyzed man. He lives in a nursing home in Daytona Beach, Florida. And he created a book called In Search of Christmas. And it's a lovely book about 3 search and rescue dogs from Minnesota, USA, who overhear they overhear their owners say, "We think we've lost Christmas." And so the search and rescue dogs say, well, that's our job. We search and rescue. So the dogs do. They travel all over the world. They go to New York City. They go to Paris. They go to the Mediterranean. They go to Israel. They finally wind up in Bethlehem, where they find Christmas. The illustrator for this book is in India, and it is wonderful. It just, when I view the illustrations, I allow different artists to view the text of what we have the project is about. And then I take their styles, and it's just like Divine Designs. It took me 10 years to find an illustrator that really captured the vision that I had for that book. And the James Rick Highsmith, in writing In Search of Christmas, this is a book that is wonderful. It is a Christmas book, but it can be any time of the year, this sweet story about these rescue dogs that do find Christmas for their owners. And all the proceeds from that book will go to purchasing a handicap van for this author, because he is located in that nursing home and very restricted. But things like that, we do that at our publishing house. And I have international authors as well. One of my authors is from England, and he has written over 30 books. And each and every one of his books has a different look for the illustrations to match what those words wanted to capture, how they wanted to entertain the young reader. And he's a teacher as well as an award-winning author. And he writes, he's my boy book author because he writes about spiders and worms and ants and things that I originally would be very frightened of. But he puts such a cute take on them, an educational take, a fun take, and the young reader would enjoy it. And then all of a sudden you don't feel so scared of spiders anymore, you know.
Right.
So the illustrators, each illustrator I've handpicked for each one of his books to bring it to life. And sometimes I've had to go through 6 or 7 illustrators to find just the one for that book. And that is important for everyone's vision.
Now, so many authors have the aspiration of doing the various author expos and going on book tour. Is that something that you would suggest for authors to do, is to do the expos and to do a book signing tour?
Oh, yes, every day of the week. I have an up-and-coming book about a bulldog named Eggnog, cutest dog in the world. This owner has tragically lost her husband, her mom, and her niece all in the last year, but she has created an absolutely adorable little project because she loves her dog, Eggnog, and has a huge following on Facebook, social media, and I'm sure that when we finish this project, and this is going to be a series because we're already working on Eggnog having a birthday party and Eggnog finding Christmas herself, because Eggnog is a little girl. So this author is going to present her books to the world on her social media venues and everything. So, yes, it's great. And the Black Surgeon, the Purpose and Passion is Dr. Praise Matavi's upcoming book that should be available June 1st. And she has forums that have to do with the Nelson Mandela Foundation in South Africa, Oprah, the Obamas. So they are going to network like crazy with this book. Some of their surgeons have hosted Good Morning America, and they know the first African-American astronaut. And so they have connections, and so they will be marketing this book very nicely. And so my publishing company helps with some of the venues like writing contests and making the books available. Obviously, Ingram is my distributor, and they're the largest distributor in the world. And so they have a nice availability of low-cost books to have in their hands to promote their books, as well as the publishing company promoting their books.
So what are your future plans when it comes to your company? Are you trying to expand? Are you adding additional services? What's next for A to Z Press?
Well, I have a partner, and she and I would like to hold some workshops for budding writers and artists, and just kind of getting them pointed in the right direction, giving them ideas on how to polish their work, present their work, maybe present their work even to our company. And so we're hoping to expand that way, become more well-known as a small publishing press. I have one of my authors is from Italy, and I would like to almost visit Rome. She wrote a book about her golden retriever, Tessel, and this dog has 15 little stories where she gets into some trouble each time she is taken out and about. But Ivy Eberts and I also included the highlights of the Eternal City, Rome, the majestic Colosseum, the Vatican City, the stores, the London Globe, the Globe Theater, the Shakespeare Theater, all the fountains, the Spanish Steps. So it's a look around Rome as well as this dog's book. So we're wanting to promote all of the authors. I have another author named Professor William Pizzio, who wrote a book about how to succeed in college. It's a professor's guide to choosing a college and thriving in your first year. We're all about education. We're all about creativity. We're all about getting your voice heard. So we want to branch out and make sure that people know we're available and that we'd like to help them with their project or how to get their project all put together so that they can have their voice shared as well.
I love it. Well, Dr. Terrie Sizemore, thank you so much for spending time with us here today on Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. But before you go, if you could remind everyone, please, what is the name of your publishing company and how can we get in contact with you if someone is ready to have their book published?
We are A to Z Press, and we can be viewed at a2zpress.com or the bestlittleonlinebookstore.com. My email address to submit any projects that they'd like for submission is Sizemore, Sizemore, 3630 at AOL.com. I'd love to hear from anyone.
All righty. Thank you again for being on the show. And listeners, thank you for tuning in as well. We hope that we have enlightened, inspired, and empowered you today. As always, may you continue to see God's grace and mercy in everything that you do. And may you remember that you are truly blessed in the Lord. Until next time, everyone. Bye-bye.